Good evening. This is actually a video response. So this is a response to one of RyanFP's video on something about being an INFP and our childhood experiences with weakness and femininity. I'd just like to start off by saying I thought it was an excellent video, and it's something, I wish more men would talk about. I could probably ramble on a long time about this one. I could relate to a lot of the stuff that was said in the video. Some of it I couldn't relate to so much, but I think in general it seemed like I could relate more to what was said in the video, but older in life rather than as a child. I'll just start off by saying that, as I get older, it's kind of hard for me to remember my childhood, or to remember it accurately or as it happened, and I think that's just a normal part of aging. I'm older now, so I was further back, so sometimes it's kind of hard for me to remember a lot of this stuff, but I don't know when it happened, but I believe at a very young age, probably around kindergarten or maybe even before that, I think I learned to, shut off who I was. I'm not sure if there was a specific event or anything that led to that, but I believe from a very young age I felt that whoever I was wasn't okay, and that if I was my true self, that people really wouldn't accept me at all. I think I always remember being quite a nervous kid. It really did seem, though, to get a whole lot worse when I was about 11 or 12, grade 6. And I moved to a different city. And I remember then being very self-conscientious, like speaking about weakness in sports and stuff. I've never been a star athlete or anything, but it seemed like once I moved to that new town, it just got worse and worse. I don't know. In the old town, it seemed like I had, a few more friends and stuff, but that new town, I didn't. And before that, I had enjoyed going to school for that first year, especially. There, I didn't. And then grades 8, which was high school, where I moved to, grades 8 to 12 were in the same school. One thing I can remember relating to sports, and this would have been at about grade 4. We were learning volleyball, and I had a hard time learning how to play volleyball. I wasn't very good at serving the ball, and I remember coming back to the gym changing room after, and one of the kids saying, you're pathetic. And that's one of the strongest memories I have as a child. And from that point on, I became really self-conscious while playing volleyball, and I think more self-conscious in a lot of sports. And which was tough because, I think sports are something that, especially as a male, you're expected to do well at. But, I used to dread going to gym class. I played hockey as a youngster, but I started quite old, and so I didn't know how to ice skate. And I can remember being benched, at 8 or 9 years old, however old I was. And, so that didn't help my confidence out either with sports. So, gym was something I always dreaded and hated. And, later on in high school, particularly in rugby or some of the contact sports, I can remember, there was some people who would try to take advantage of that, and were really rough, rougher than they needed to be. And I guess I was scared. I was scared of being hurt or whatnot. But from what I found with my experience in sports and with bullying in general, it wasn't like the jocks. A lot of times I think it's stereotyped as the people who pick on people. It wasn't the jocks who picked on me. The jocks were actually very good. Or the guys that, were actually on the rugby team or were good in sports. They used to kind of stand up for me a bit, and, somebody took me down too hardly, they'd step in a bit. And, or if they were tackling me or something, they took me down with as much force as was necessary. They didn't try to run me into the ground like a freight train or anything. And so, I always hated PE and stuff, but it's kind of cool because like in grade 10, I had a really good PE teacher who didn't just mark PE on how well you did in school. He marked it by how hard you tried and stuff. And I got an A in PE in grade 10, which was unheard of for me. I always got C's before. And he actually made it so that I decided to take PE in grade 11 and 12. And that was always a big thing I looked forward to was not having to take phys ed in grade 11 and 12. So all in all, that was the teacher that had the biggest impact on me. Because after that, physical fitness and became a huge part of my life, and it still is today. And it's something I use to take care of myself and to keep me healthy. But back to kind of the point of the video too, and like with bullying and stuff, I could never understand why, like a lot of kids picked on me all the time, because really I just wanted to be left alone. I guess my parents always told me that, if you don't bother them, they'll eventually get bored and leave you alone, and they never really ever did. That changed around grade 11 and 12 again, when I moved to a new town, and there, I didn't have a lot of friends, but, people just kind of let me do my own thing, so that was cool. And I didn't mind that, so I didn't mind that so much, but, the worst person to being picked on was, or bullied on was by a girl in grade 8, and, we had like the double lockers, and her locker was on top of mine, and she'd always drop books on my head, and she'd call me this name that I didn't like at all, and I didn't really know what to do with it. As a guy, it's like, okay, so if I get pissed off and like beat her up or something, then I'm going to get a reputation as a guy who beats up girls and stuff, and then probably a lot of the other guys would come in and kick my ass and everything else. And so that didn't seem like an option. But being picked on by a girl was bad for the ego too. Like, that sucked. I don't really know how else to put it. It was embarrassing and stuff. And I remember the one time I did get mad, and I stood up, and I think I was going to say something, and she like pushed me back into the lockers, and I just froze up. I don't know how I was feeling. I think I was a little bit scared, and I wanted to fight back. I really did, I think, but what would have happened if I would have fought back and lost? I think that was my biggest fear. So yeah, so that was some of the hardest bullying to take anyway, was from this young lady. And I remember too, as a kid, especially as a teenager, like the early teen years, I was a very angry teenager. Like I've always wanted to join the military, and I actually did for a few years, and joined the Navy. But like back then, I think I wanted to join like the special forces or something, or be like an infantryman or whatever. And I think a big part of that was the anger I had, and and I remember picturing myself like coming back with a uniform on, and like airborne wings or special forces wings or something, and I come back, and like some of these people picked on me, I'd beat the shit out of them and stuff. And so yeah, I had a lot of anger. I hated gays. I hated a lot of different races and stuff. I wasn't like in the KKK or anything, or stuff. Like a few people knew of it, but I think a lot of that anger was just all directed at, because I was pissed off at getting picked on and stuff, and couldn't seem to do anything about it to stop it. So I just projected it on somewhere else and stuff. So yeah, so I remember being quite an angry child as well, with a lot of hate and that actually changed later on when I was about 22 or 23, and actually when I took ecstasy and realized that, yeah, it was just stupid, or stupid, and the ecstasy felt really good, and hate just seemed like a really stupid thing. So that was actually something good that came out of that. Kind of taking ecstasy, and so yeah, the bullying and stuff. So, and I'll just end off on the bullying topic. Maybe I'll probably make another video, respond a little bit more to the sexuality and the femininity part of it. I'm kind of getting off track, and I think this is getting a bit long, anyways. But oh man, just totally forgot what I was gonna say. Something. Finish off with the bullying. Oh. Yeah, when I was in school, this was all before all these school shootings and everything like that. When I went to school, I never thought of anybody bringing a gun to school and shooting at everybody. So I can't say that, I ever had thoughts of that, just because at that time you never heard about this sort of thing. I'm sure if I grew up in school today now, I would think about it. And I think too, the bullying has gotten worse. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I don't know, but I think it sounds like it's gotten worse. And it's to say, of course I don't condone that sort of thing, but I could see why those people do it. You just get to that place and you don't care. And I know, I had that anger and hate, and I guess kind of wanted to do it in an alternative way by joining the military later on, and picturing myself coming back and beating the shit out of people. I remember wishing, I could do that, that I was tougher, better at sports, or could kick the crap out of people, but I always just froze up and got scared, and I wished my anger hadn't have froze up when it happened, and that maybe I did go out and punch somebody out. I don't think it really would have solved anything, but maybe people wouldn't have picked on me as much, or but I never stood up for myself. I never reported it to teachers. I didn't think that would help. So yeah, I don't know what the answers were, and and that was a little bit of my life growing up. But yeah, in the next video, I'll do another response sometimes and talk about the other stuff. Yeah, they're kind of hard videos to talk about. I don't mind. Well, part of me doesn't mind talking about. Part of me doesn't want to, because it's this is in the past, and I think I've dwelt on the past too much, type of thing. So it's another question whether how healthy it is for me to do it. But I guess obviously part of me thought this was worthwhile, and thanks to Ryan for starting this topic off, and I think it's something, especially guys, and especially in the next one, I'll talk more about sexuality. We need to be more open and talk about that stuff more. So, peace. Thanks a lot, everybody.